Programs to educate parents can be comprised of workshops, seminars, home visits, newsletters, online trainings, and emails. Of course, you can't send an email once a week and call it a program, but sending emails once a week can certainly be part of the program. So what makes a program? Well, for one thing, you have to have a topic and establish desired participant outcomes. Then you have to identify the ways in which those participant outcomes can be met. This is where the workshops, seminars, home visits, websites, newsletters, and emails come in. For example, a school may offer a multi-session group program that trains parents on the curricula that their children are studying in the classroom. The purpose is to provide parents with knowledge and skills to continue the learning at home. The program may offer an initial series of workshops on the curricula and include a follow-up email distribution or a listserv where parents can ask other parents or the parent leader questions and share feedback on how it's going. Quarterly newsletters providing general tips to parents on helping students with study or reading practices may supplement the program, and a regular home visit program might help in sustaining parents' efforts and provide individualized support and encouragement. But that's just one example. The curriculum of the home provides several topics to choose from. These next indicators address 3 of them. The school provides parents with practical guidance to establish a quiet place for children studying at home and consistent discipline for the studying at home. The school provides parents with practical guidance to encourage their children's regular reading habits at home. The school provides parents with practical guidelines to model and encourage respectful and responsible behaviors. The following are sneak peeks into these indicators in action. Let's start by listening to a school team share with us their communication notebook, a notebook that focuses not only on homeschool communication, but also giving parents a place to develop reading habits at home. And then the principal weighs in on the benefits of it all.
In the next piece, we have reading responses that the children do every week with their homework. And the first page is just some reading response starters for the communication notebook. They can, read books at home. Someone can read it to them. They could do it on their own. And these are just some ideas of how to start those responses. This is the communication notebook itself, where they do their communication responses. This is these stars just tell us what are the pieces of the response that we want. And as you can see here, I star what they have, the title, the author, the date, and a quick response. The last piece that we decided as a second grade team was just a book log for at-home reading.
For reading, they're expected to read 2 to 3 times a week and write a response every time they read. A lot of the grades have sentence starters to help them start their response. And the goal with that is to get them to just to read, to enjoy reading. It's not a response is not necessarily a summary of what they read. It's interacting with the text as they read. And it's really trying to instill that love of reading with the children and have the parents understand that that's what the purpose is.
The purpose of the reading response, you're reading at night, which we've always done here. That was an expectation that we've had. What we noticed was overall from feedback from parents and teachers, they're reading, but not necessarily reading for meeting. They were expected to read, they'll read the 20 minutes, but there wasn't that accountability piece, and what we noticed was parents thought that they were reading at this level when we were seeing that they were reading at this level at school, independent level. It wasn't as accurate. So with the communication piece of having to respond to what they read, it makes the child accountable to what they're reading. They're required to read for meaning. What that means is that the parents now get a better handle on where they truly are independently reading. Sometimes they can read text at a 3 or 4 year beyond where they are right now. It doesn't mean that they know what they're reading or understand it to where they're supposed to. So it really has given the parents an opportunity to bring it all back in and to have a much better idea of where they are when it comes to comprehension.
Can I just say, really, just as a parent, seeing the growth is amazing too, because since my children were little, I've been reading to them, but we've never really had that opportunity to have a conversation about it. And just recently, in the past week, one of my children was reading an article, and just to hear his response of what he said, I didn't think that he was thinking that way. So it was amazing as a parent to see his interpretation of what he was reading and kind of put that out there. So that was really great as a parent to experience with them as well.
In the variety of texts she wants to read, she's looking at pamphlets, she's looking, when we go places, she's looking at the playbill when we went to see a play. We're on the computer looking for information and facts. But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have these reading responses in my home communication log to know that that's a response she's going to need to understand. So this has helped us look at different texts, and she can put it on her reading log so it counts towards her million-word challenge, which is amazing.
Each classroom teacher has really worked to encourage parents to design a time at home, maybe a designated area, a quiet spot in the house. That's part of the curriculum of the home. A certain time of night, whether it's coming right off the bus, going into the home to do your homework, whatever works for the family. But it really has given them an opportunity to be organized and extend it into the home, into what works for them best.
And finally, we'll sit in on the beginning of a parent-to-parent education program about guidance for teaching children responsible behavior, followed by an administrator's perspective on all three of these indicators. Here we go.
We get the book, and then they open it up and teach you how to read it to your child. They open it up and they teach you how to point to each word so that they learn how to follow you. And they also teach you how to, when you read the page, ask them, okay, well, what went on? And, well, what was the dog doing? And what was the girl doing? And at the end, it's usually a couple of questions that they ask just to make sure that, your child understood what was going on and remember, from beginning to end. So
One of my children had put, even in here, his story he wrote was Henry and Mudge take a big test, and he put text to self connection. He put, this story reminds me of when I first met my first grade teacher, Miss Cicerelli. So he's using the words, and this was unprompted by me. I just wrote, I set it up for him because they gave, a list of how things should be set up. Here, where it fell out. How it should be set up. And so I set it up for him to kind of give him the outline, and he just, started going with it and how it reminded him of when he met her. And even I had asked him, because one time he was writing and I said, write on the next line. And he said, no, we need to skip lines so it's easier to read. And so things like that, it's coming right from the classroom and coming back. And so it was interesting, I think, especially the vocabulary. And I find myself asking them, well, what does that mean? And they're both able to just tell me, or even just hearing the conversations in the car between the two of them. And I remember even just last year, the words that they're using and the vocabulary has increased just by, I think, the school informing me of what it is. And otherwise, I wouldn't have known what they were really talking about. But by having it in there, and an example of saying, well, this is what a text to self connection, a text to text connection. They're able to have the conversations between the two of them at 6 years old.
And parent education doesn't have to end with the curriculum of the home, though it certainly must include it. We've seen schools include parents in teachers' professional development programs where topics such as bullying or cultural proficiency are examined too. The following clips focus on cultural proficiency.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Raising Good Kids. It is one of our parent training courses out of the 4 that we do offer. I'm Stacy Logan, and I will be your group leader for this morning. We'll meet for 3 sessions on the Raising Good Kids. Each session, you'll get something different, or we'll talk about different, you'll get a different manual, you'll get a different guide, and it'll walk us through how to raise good kids.
We have a website that we always introduce to families. We have newsletters, and we have brochures and handouts that's given to parents all around reading, studying, respect, and responsible behaviors, because this is what we want instilled in our children, and we want our parents to know and have ways and information on how this is done.